Hello, this is Holly for Loop, Learn English with a Worldwide Perspective, and hoping that several loopers will join me. And let's see if this link works. And I hope several people from Loop will join us. Loop, L-E-W-W-W-P, loop.com. Learn English with a Worldwide Perspective. And there's Gerard. Okay, hello.
Hello.
Will our sound work? Can you hear me? I don't hear you.
Sorry.
Let me check the settings. I'm not hearing sound.
Can you hear me?
Is that? It looks like your mic. Yes, okay, now I can. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Things were a little bit different again today with starting the Hangout. But I'm hoping others will join us. Only you online on Loop at the moment. Let me close out of here in case it's conflicting. It's been a crazy day for Loop. We lost. Oh, you still there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The site was down a couple of times today. I don't know if you had trouble getting onto Loop or not.
No, because I was working most of the time.
Ah, okay. So is it getting busy at the campground now?
Yes.
uh,
I cannot attend as many classes as I used to be.
Right. Yeah, back in the grind again. I'm hearing a little bit of background sound. Are you?
No, I can. It's a little bit different.
It's
yes.
okay. It's okay for you? Yeah. So are there any fun stories from your filling up campground? Any big groups of English speakers?
No, but I started a new activity. And it was for the archery.
Archery! I don't know if you know or not. I don't know if we've ever talked about this, but when I was in high school, I was discovered for my talent for archery, supposedly, and we started a very small team and competed with other schools. I was never sure if I was proud to be good at archery, and I haven't kept up with it. But I had a lot of fun. Yeah. So what kind of targets do you use?
I am starting the basics. I shot arrows 10 meters away only.
Okay, and so you haven't gone ahead to planting a little teeny tiny something many meters away and try to catch it. Yeah, it's fun. It's exciting when you are successful. And the only time I've tried it in recent years was in Korea with a different type of bow and arrow, and I was terrible. Terrible then. My skill was completely forgotten. But it's a good way to focus. I would imagine it might be easier for you than for some people because it requires that focus to calm down and steady yourself. Yeah. Yeah.
And some members of the club are French, and also I know a British man, so I'll be able to practice my English.
Okay, good. And how many times do they meet? During the week or during the day? Or?
I don't know. So far, once a week because I'm doing an intensive course. An intensive course to learn the basics, but after that, I don't know.
Okay. All right. And we're going to try something new on Loop starting next week. I've got to get the posts prepared for it, but we're going to try to have a theme every month and challenge people to include some reference to the theme with most of their posts. And we're going to start with a theme of books. So almost any topic, there's a book written about it somewhere, or a quote from a book. And just summertime reading, a lot of people read more in the summer. And so the next Hangout, I'm going to try incorporating Joanna's group on The Little Prince. And we'll look at some of her posts and questions as our conversation starters. And if people want to practice reading from the book during the Hangouts. So she has a lot of great posts in her Little Prince group. So
I read it.
Yeah, most people have, right? Which language did you read it in?
I read it in 3 languages: Catalan, Spanish, and French.
Really? So now maybe you'll read it in English.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a great book for that connection. Most people have read it or heard of it in one language or another, and it's been translated into so many languages. So I'm hoping to learn of a few new books to read over the summer, and curious to see how many people are reading on ebooks, since that's growing and growing and growing. So I put The Little Prince on my little mini iPad, so I have it on my Kindle reader. And I'm going to try to reread it as an ebook to give myself the challenge.
I think it's a good idea to suggest a book every month, but not too large.
Yeah, and I'm hoping lots of people will talk about different books, and maybe we'll get some of the, even if you're writing a post in question of the day, have you read this book? Or in a grammar, you find this paragraph in a book and you name the book and share the paragraph, that kind of thing. I'm hoping we'll make it easy to use as a theme. Well, we'll see. Give it a try and see if it helps anyone.
I know a nice book in English that is not very long, and I think you must know. It's called Of Mice and Men. John Steinbeck.
Of Mice and Men. Steinbeck. Yes, yes. Yeah, I often read some of Steinbeck's in the summer. It's often on my summer reading list. Yes, that's a nice summer reading list. I did not pronounce that very well. Yes, nice book. And not too long. Some of his can be longer, but that's not too long. Yeah. And actually, I'm thinking of different excerpts from that book would probably appeal to many loopers for different reasons. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, so it should be something everyone can jump in on at some level. And we'll see what happens. See how well I remember to keep up with the theme. Because it's a new idea. I didn't have anything else special chosen today. I don't know if you have a topic you would like to speak on. And I'm wondering where everyone else is. We had several people who said maybe. So Omar and Abdurrahman and
Right.
Sushma and Abdul and Morais. Where are they?
Missing. They are missing.
Abdurrahman is on the site now. I don't know, did my link, one of my links work for you, or did you come to the chat a different
Then
way?
I choose one of your links, but I
Okay.
think we are alone now in the web, in the our workspace.
Oh, okay, I see Abdurrahman, but maybe he's gone again. So we'll hope some folks join us. I don't might be connection troubles too. It's been absolutely glorious weather here the last 3 or 4 days. Have you had nice weather?
Actually, today has been a rainy day.
Rainy, oh really?
Raining,
We
but
actually, yeah.
it's good. Actually, I think it's good because May must be a rainy day, and this May has been quite dry. The plant needs
So
water. I don't know because people say it's always in Spain it's bad weather when it's raining because it's necessary. The rain is necessary.
definitely. Yeah, we need some good rain again. We've had a nice spring, but we need rain again now. Might get some later, but it's been a really pleasant weekend. So here's your challenge, Gerard. I have a handful of conversation questions. So either you suggest a topic or I read you one of these questions.
Read one of these questions, please.
Okay. What famous person do you want to meet and why?
Alive. For instance, Ken Robinson.
Yes, yeah, good
Ken
choice.
Robinson. Ken,
So why do you want to meet him?
to know his ideas about education,
Hear them firsthand?
and because when he's very funny and explains things very well, I like his
Yeah,
TED talks very much because it's very funny and entertaining.
yeah, I love his
Um,
humor.
yeah.
Yeah, and I
With his
wonder
humor.
in person if he is um, as easy to understand and follow. He certainly presents really well. I would love to meet him in person to ask him a question and watch his face because one of my colleagues and friends went out on a date with him many years ago. And I'd love to ask him if he knows Susan and see if he remembers her and how he reacts. Be fun to ask him. Yeah, good choice. Good choice for that question. I don't know who I
Another,
would. Yeah.
another choice, Michael Sandel. I like it very much. He's
Yes.
like
Yeah.
he's very understandable and gives everybody his attention. And it's very interesting what he says, the way he says, explain the thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Nice choices. All right, here's a completely different question. What would you use $1,000 for if someone
One
gave
hour.
you $1,000?
Maybe I know a travel.
Travel?
Maybe yes. I don't know if journey or travel
Yeah.
because
A journey.
you maybe with your journey to Europe could be called tour or voyage.
Ah, that's actually a good question. So a 5.5 week tour, but it's not really a tour because I'm staying long times in some places. Ah, I don't know what I would call it. It doesn't sound right to call it a tour, a journey, an adventure. I guess I would probably choose an adventure, a multi-week adventure across several places in Europe. Yeah, yeah. We're getting closer to dates, so it'll be between, I don't know what day, but between August 15th and 20th is when I'll be in your area. So one of those days, and I'll know more soon. But
Okay.
that's the time frame. And yeah, crazy. And yeah, I guess an adventure, because it's not a tour, it's not a journey. Travel, a 5.5 weeks travel, but it's more than just travel. It's a multi-stop adventure.
And what about voyage, the French word voyage? Because I know you sometimes call voyage, use this word.
Voyage, and
Voyage.
American English
Voyage.
pronunciation would be
Okay.
voyage.
Okay.
Voyage. Yeah,
Voyage.
we ruin it, and voyage is much nicer, but American English, it's voyage. And
Voyage.
a voyage to me requires travel on a boat.
Okay.
I wouldn't call airfare a flight a voyage for me. Abdurrahman, hey, hello,
Hello.
nice,
Hello.
you joined us. Yeah, can you hear okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
Nice. So we're talking. Okay, we're talking about the differences between a voyage, travel, journey, adventure.
Tour.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know if you can turn your chat on or if your chat is on, but we're talking about what the different connotations are between voyage, travel, journey, adventure, vacation, tour, trip. Yeah, you could just say trip. A trip to Europe. Yeah, trip works for all of them. Yeah, yeah. That's the easiest. I don't like to do things the easy way. Yeah, yeah. I was turning into quite a trip, and my budget is depleting, is gone. So it's going to be a very careful penny trip, but
Okay, I'm here for to know how what is the difference between.
so you want to learn. Well, for me, a voyage requires travel over water. So travel by boat or ship of some type would be a voyage. I wouldn't use voyage for a flight. I don't know if others would, but I would not.
Not the same as French.
Yeah, voyage. Yeah.
Voyage, yes. It's in general, not only travel over the water.
Right. This is what Gerard is saying. Yeah. I've never heard it used, and I haven't used it except for a cruise. So bon voyage, right? Happy travels. Travel can be anything. So trip and travel can work for any of these. A journey requires a length of time, a longer trip, right?
Journey?
Journey.
Is it
Yeah.
longer than travel and trip?
No, all of them are anything is travel. You can travel from this room to the kitchen. You can take a trip from here to the kitchen. Travel and trip are very broad, general terms.
Okay.
Um,
Trip hasn't any relation about work travel?
It can, yeah. So a trip can be local or long or short or far. Can
No,
be.
I mean,
Up,
I don't. It has no relation with work or business, right?
oh, you can take a business trip, right? Can be business or pleasure. You can have a business trip or a pleasure trip.
Mm-hmm.
And the same would be true for travel. Local travel, long distance travel. Is the sound not good, Gerard?
No, no, it's okay.
Okay.
What about journey? Hasn't any relation um, of holiday trip or as a vacation? No?
It can be. When I hear journey, my first thought is long, long time. I expect it to be a longer than normal trip. And journey is often to a new place, to a place maybe you've been once before, but it's a more involved. It's a more in-depth journey. It might be a business journey or personal journey, pleasure journey or volunteer journey. But journey to me involves more serious, more important, and length of time, longer length of time is when I would use it. If I were going to take a 3-day weekend, it would not be a journey.
Okay,
Most of the time.
one more question. Which one we can use it in the same cases as I mean has no difference which one as trip and travel
Yeah,
we can
trip would probably be the one that would cover everything. A trip to the grocery store, a trip around the world, a trip for business. So trip is probably the last one I thought of, and probably the easiest. And there's Marais. Hello.
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 So trip would be your most general, and I think it's quite funny. It's the last one. Last one I thought about. So we're talking, Marais, about voyage, travel, journey, adventure, vacation, tour, trip, and the various connotations for them.
Okay.
Just I mean if we have a gap in a phrase or in a sentence we can use anyone but same meaning journey tribe travel
All
drive.
right. So, for example, simple sentence: take a travel sounds awkward. You usually travel. You don't need to take a travel. So, travel destination. I like to travel. I like to travel. I like to take a trip. So you wouldn't usually use them in the same position in a sentence normally. But take a trip, take a journey, you usually use go on a journey. So your phrasing tends to change. So take a trip, go on a journey, go on a voyage. You could use go on a trip, so maybe we'll change our sentence. Go on a trip. What else do we have? Adventure. Go on an adventure. Go on a vacation. Go on a tour. So go on a works with all of them except travel. To say go on travel, you would just say travel. I'm going to travel. I'm going to go on a trip. I'm going to travel. I'm going to go on a voyage. I'm going to travel. So that would be the exception. So sometimes getaway is another synonym. I need a vacation. I need a getaway. I need to go on a trip. I need to get away. But also getaway as a compound is used. Anyone else think of any other synonyms? Or sometimes synonyms?
No.
I'm going to turn the sound down on my...
What about fly away?
Fly away?
Yes. No?
Do you want to fly away?
Yes.
Abdurrahman wants to fly away. You usually travel to the beaches. You want to fly away somewhere new. I need to fly away. I need to get away. Could be used in the same way, but fly away I've never seen as one compound word. I need to fly away. I need to fly away. Here's someone else. Hey, hello. Welcome. Leon, can you hear us? I need a headset. Yeah. Hey, excellent. Hello, Leon.
Hello.
Very happy to see you here. It's my first time, I think, to actually talk with you on in a Hangout or on Skype.
I spoke to you on Skype once.
Okay, so
quite a while ago. Yes.
All right. Yeah, well, welcome. I'll give the other Loop members a chance to say hello and meet you. We've been talking about travels, journeys, trips, voyages, tours, getaways, and I'll let everyone introduce themselves. So we'll start with Gerard since he was first one here.
I'm Gerard. I'm from Barcelona, Spain. I'm a looper since last 1 year ago.
It's been a year already? Or
More.
sometimes feels like it's been short time and sometimes feels like longer.
Longer, yeah.
Yeah. And Leon, you've been a member for a while, but not so active. I don't know if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Yes, I'm Leon. I live in England. I've been living in England for 2 years because I came back to England 2 years ago. I've also lived in other countries in my life. When I was younger, I lived in Singapore and then Germany and recently in Hungary. So I've lived maybe 1/3 of my life in different countries.
Wow. Yeah, nice. Nice. Moraes?
My name is Moraes. I'm from Brazil. Now I'm living in the Netherlands since 2012. And on the end of July, I will go back to Brazil.
Wow, all these travelers. This is fun to have a nice representation. Yeah. Abdurrahman, you want to put your mic on and say hello?
Hello.
Want to say more than hello?
Okay. I am Abdurrahman. I am from Nigeria. I was born, I have been here, born here, and I live here. Yes.
And he's ready to fly away. We just learned that before you joined us.
It's a new vocabulary. You can add it to the dictionary.
Good for you to practice with. Yeah. So if you could fly away, where would you fly to, Abdurrahman?
Yes. I have many wishes to travel to Europe and to Asia.
Hmm.
just for Malaysia.
Not to Charlottesville?
And to Europe for Spain and England.
Ah, but he's not going to come visit me. Be that way.
We will meet there. We will meet there.
We'll meet there, okay, but you're not going to come over to the U.S. Huh, there's a lot of nice things to see here. A lot of nice people here, too. Leon, I'm not sure if you have the chat open or not, or keeping up with my crazy notes, but I'm going to be in London for just two and a half days, late August. Are you anywhere near Kew Gardens or London?
Well, Kew Gardens is a great place to go to. I'm over the other side, actually, southeast.
Okay.
But I would say to anybody who goes to London, make sure that while you go to London, take the chance to visit England as well.
I wish. I won't have the ability this trip. It'll be the end of my 6 week, but I'll be in Paris area and in Poland and in Prague and in Basel, Switzerland, and in Besançon, France, and then in London for 2 days before I fly home.
Well, you can't do better than going to Kew Gardens, I think. That's a really great place to go.
Yeah.
And maybe you can see Hampton Court while you're there, but that's quite close.
Okay. Good to know. Any tips? I'm sorry to take up our hangout with this, but one last quick question. Any tips on places to stay close to Kew Gardens?
Oh, I used to stay a little bit outside London in Ealing, but I don't know the name of the place I used to stay now, but there are lots of hotels around there, but it's quite an expensive area, actually. Around Kew Gardens is quite an expensive area, so you have to take a look around and see if you can find something, because if you don't plan, you could find that you spend a fortune.
Right. So I found a few places. I just always like first-hand knowledge if I can get it. So I thought I would ask. Yeah.
I haven't been for a while. I'd like to go there again quite soon, but I haven't been there for a few years now.
Okay. So I will get back to our hangout. I don't mean to take away from my talk. I've been using, I don't know if you know these, Kathy's conversations cards, but whenever our conversation, no one has something to ask to start a new topic, I pull out one of my cards and ask a question. So we're at that point now where it's anyone's turn to suggest a topic, or I will read a new question. So does anyone have a question to ask or a topic to suggest? Or are you ready for an spontaneous unknown question from Kathy's conversation cards?
I like to see what your card says.
I like this question. Here you go, guys. Do you want to change your hair color? Why or why not? So, does this stir up any conversation response? Abdurrahman is sending a smile, and Mariah has a comment. Yes?
Yes. I changed the color of my hair.
You did?
Yes. Along the time.
And what color did you change your hair to?
Gray color.
So, but Mother Nature did that for you, I think, right?
Yes.
Natural hair color.
Yes.
So you've never actually tried to go gray. It just happened on its own.
Yes.
I'm one of those lucky people, sort of. I was very blonde as a child, so my gray hairs don't show as much as there are many of them here, but they don't quite show show yet. So our next question, unless someone else has another comment, is very appropriate. It's, do you like to travel? Where, why, and when?
Yeah, I should.
So any comments, responses to this? Do you like to travel? Where, why, when?
I prefer to arrive. I don't like travelling so much.
Oh, that's a great answer. Excellent answer. So the traveling itself is not your favorite thing to do, and Gerard's with you. He doesn't like to travel.
When I came back from Hungary, I travelled on a lorry with all my things in the back of the lorry, and I stopped by the side of the rivers in Germany. The Danube is a very long river, and that was quite good, but usually travelling on planes isn't very much fun.
So help me, please, because I'm an American English girl. I'm not sure exactly what a lorry is.
Are you serious?
I am serious. Does it include all vehicles, or is it only a
Well, actually, I'm not.
Oh,
I see what you mean. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yes. Well, yes.
I'm not positive.
I thought you didn't know what a lorry was, but yes. I don't know exactly, but I suppose it covers quite a range, really. So we call those big lorries, those TIR lorries, which go to the continent and are articulated. Those are lorries as well. So everything can be a lorry, really, down to a certain size, I suppose. When does it stop being a lorry? I suppose when it gets quite small, it's not really a lorry, but
okay, so
yeah, it's any kind of truck, I suppose.
Broad range of
really,
of vehicles built to transport things, more than people. To transport more than just people, or are there lorries that carry several people?
Well, they're not really for people. I mean, I think that when I say lorry, when we speak about lorries, we often think about the quite big ones, like the big trucks.
That's what I picture. That's what I'm picturing. So I'm imagining whether or not I would want to drive through a country with all my possessions in a big truck along unknown roads.
in the army, they're lorries as well as trucks. So I suppose there are people carrying lorries as well. I'm not really sure exactly what a lorry is. I think when you say car, you have a clearer idea. Even that's not absolutely clear sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Along the Danube sounds wonderful.
In Hungary, we call it the Duna. But,
really?
Yes. So there were two big rivers in Hungary, and the Danube was one, and the Tisza was another. They split the country, and I lived on the Great Plain. You may have heard of the Great Plain in Hungary, a big flat area. Right in the middle of Hungary, and very flat.
We have our section of the U.S. that's that way as well. It's an interesting experience when you're in a really flat area. They're very flat.
I feel more relaxed with a few hills, actually. Most of England is a little bit hilly. We do have a flat area. The area called the Fens, which is north of London but to the east, where Norwich is. That's a very flat area.
Someday I'd like to return to, that's another place I'd like to travel back to someday, to take the the famous authors and poets tour and walk the places that many famous writers have walked, and see if I am inspired to write more, learn more, see where they've lived and been.
Well, Chaucer lived in my city, and Marlowe. They were our two great writers.
Well, yeah, I guess. Yeah, nice. So a lot of history there. I know that the history is going to hit me strongly. I've only traveled abroad before to Korea and to Canada. I've never been to Europe. It'll be my first trip to Europe, so I'm quite excited. Mm-hmm. So anyone else? If you could travel, do you have a preference for when? Good. Two people ready to talk. Marais, go ahead.
Okay. I like to travel, but I love to travel driving my car. I like to travel long distance, and driving my car I can choose my way. I can stop and sleep in a city that I prefer.
Yes. Although it's harder to do that here. I don't know if it's the same. It's one thing I'm not sure about, how definite I should make my reservations everywhere, because in the U.S. now it's not a good idea to travel without having reservations, unless you're prepared to drive all night, because twice now my husband and I have been in that position of not being able to find an available place. Probably easier now because we have technology and we can check for Airbnb and other options to find places, but there are times when everything is booked.
Yes, but in the United States, I think that there are lots of motel along the roads.
But sometimes there are lots of bright neon signs that say no vacancy.
And sometimes you have to be very careful, because I know I saw a film about a motel in America, and I think it was by Alfred Hitchcock. Have you seen that film?
Are you trying to terrorize us? Alfred Hitchcock, awesome. Amazing man. That would be a no vacancy place I would accept. No problem. Keep on driving.
I would like to cross from east to west in coast in the United States, driving my car.
So would I, and back again. Yeah, I'd like to do a full round trip. As a child, my family, my three brothers and I and my parents went camping across the country, and we did 20-some states in one trip over an 8-week period. That was wonderful. But I was young. I was only 10 years old, and I didn't enjoy it as much as I wish I had, or I don't remember it as much as I wish I had. I think every country, though, has so many places that you could see, could visit.
Yes, but in some countries they're more spaced out. So in the United States, everything is spaced out much more than it is in England. In most places.
It's nice that you use spaced out.
We're very crowded. We have a very small country. Actually, our country is 3 times more densely populated than China. We just don't have any space. Just a few places have space.
Just like New Jersey, where I grew up, there's not a lot of space there either. I'm glad that you use spaced out because it has two different meanings. To have
Yeah,
something
maybe more.
spaced apart, spaced out, or you can space out and be like if you're on drugs, you're spaced out. So it's a good
Yes, once I was in a
vocabulary.
train station and I saw the waiting room, a sign saying waiting room, and on top of the sign saying waiting room, it said far out, and we said, oh look, far out waiting room. It was painted in a rather strange colour, I think.
So there's someone bringing back the 60s with a far out, man. Cool.
Well, it's very strange, actually, that the 60s language became very unfashionable when I was at school, and then it seemed to kind of sneak back again, and some of it's still with us now. Quite a lot of it is still around. A lot of it became very... Though I remember when it was very uncool to say cool, for example, because in the 70s, everybody 10 years later kind of reacts against the previous years. And they don't want to be like their parents, I guess. And then later, all of these words come back again. So now we have lots of 60s words, and where are we? We're in 2014, so 2014, so it's changing.
Sort of like fashion comes around again, but not always with the language. Yeah.
I'm sure they have lots of words which we don't have back from that time.
So Marais, I'm not sure if we cut you short, if you were finished, or...
Yes, I finished.
Okay, so Gerard, we didn't give you a chance to comment. I don't know if you remember what you wanted to say.
Yes, I liked to visit Charles Dickens' two cities, so Paris and London.
So those are on your list of places, even though you don't like to travel. So if you ever get to visit those places, what would be your preferred method of travel?
I'd like to travel by train.
Train.
Because now in my city we have the high-speed train. I think it takes around 5 hours to travel to Paris. And there is also a train between Paris and London.
Yes, very fast one, yes. It goes past me when I drive to work sometimes, and it's so fast.
Yeah, I think it must be faster than travel by plane. Because you have to wait a lot of time in the airport.
Yeah. Have you been to England before?
No, never.
And I haven't. I don't know. Marais, have you?
Yes, last year I visited London.
And Abdurrahman?
No, never.
Never. Yeah. So we're a very global, worldwide group, but not all of us have had the chance to travel a lot. I always think it sounds so strange when I say that I've been to Korea, but I haven't been to Europe. There's so many people. Europe is the first travel destination.
You can see that I have been for one time in Europe, but a half of Europe. I have been in Istanbul, Turkey, yes. Has a half in Asia and a half side in Europe, as I think.
So much to see. It's a big earth. Lots of potential. All right, here's the next question, sort of related. Do you use public transportation? How often? interesting how much public transportation differs from place to place. So does anyone use it regularly or infrequently?
Yes. I go to Barcelona, I use the subway, especially the subway. I think it's easier than the bus because with the bus you must know the place because it's easy to get mistaken. But
Yes.
with the subway it's easy and faster.
And is a subway expensive? Does it feel expensive?
If only you buy one ticket, it's expensive, but there are several ways. So you can buy 10 tickets, you can buy bonus for a whole month.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you go to London and you ask for the subway, they might not direct you to the trains. They may think that you just need to walk underground.
Really?
You in London you shouldn't really. Well, they may think you're going for a train, but they may
Just
not. They
ask
may
for
think
the
that you just
tube,
want to
right?
go under the ground walking. So you can ask for the tube or the underground.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or the underground. Yeah, the tube is what I've heard, but the underground or the tube. Interesting. Huh. I don't think I would want to walk long distances down under the ground.
Sometimes in London you have to, because the
Really?
London Underground is really always under construction, and they've got so many different lines, and sometimes it looks like you're changing and just having a short walk, but you're walking for half a mile, so you don't know sometimes.
Wow, and underground. I didn't realize that.
Some
like
of them
the
are very
air.
deep. I think maybe some of it's much older than it is in some cities, and so we have different levels of underground, and so sometimes you have to go down the escalators, we call them, and you go down these 5 or 6 times, quite big ones, and there's different lines.
Wow. So much to experience and feel and have different. I've often been impressed with the different decoration and artwork and music that you can hear in subways or while waiting or changing in the subway. Abdurrahman, what's available for you? Do you use public transportation?
Okay, you mean in the same city or between cities?
Anywhere.
In the same city, I use many public transportation, as of course taxis, a taxi, a tramway. I don't know if it's in English. Tramway, it's a French word. Tramway, it's a same of
Tramway?
tramway, yes, a kind of train, but it's only a short one, which take a short
distance.
Yes, distance. Yes, in the same city, and of course same way underground. I do sometimes, and between cities I use plane.
Train.
Plane, yes, plane. And the bus, the short drive between cities, it's by bus. Always by bus and plane. I used to many time I have to travel my time because the nature of my work.
Okay.
Yes, and you know Algeria is so big country, I think it's the biggest or the bigger country in Africa.
One of the biggest countries.
No, not one of. It's the biggest one.
The biggest, Algeria? Really?
Yes. It's as so.
I'm not sure I would have guessed that. Okay.
Yes, it has many kind of cities and many kind of weather, many kinds of tradition. So no, it's no similar. So it's fast. I don't have the exact superficie, but it's a big one. So I have to travel sometimes. When I travel in the past, I can take about 14 hours sometimes.
40?
Or
14?
14.
Okay.
14, yes.
Okay.
14 or more to get my other city, yes. But
so this
by plane,
go ahead.
But by plane, it takes only 1 hour or short.
So if you're that much of a traveler, it tells me you have more stories to share. I want to see and hear more stories. Interesting. Marais, you haven't had a turn yet. What's public transportation, Netherlands or Brazil? Yeah.
I use the public transportation, but it's not frequently. Because daily I go to the university riding by bicycle, but sometimes when it's raining here in the Netherlands, within the city I use the bus, and I can say it is excellent transportation system. And also I use the train to travel to Amsterdam, for example. In Amsterdam, in the big cities in the Netherlands, there are also the tram. Tram is a crazy transportation system.
So how is a tram different than a train?
Because they call tram because it's a mix of a bus and the train. It's a transportation that you run on the roads, on the streets.
Oh. Well,
yes.
I thought tram was not on a track?
Yes, there is a track, but on the streets.
So I'm wondering if trolley is the same as a tram. Maybe what I think of as trolley is what is more likely called tram in Europe. Interesting. This is fun to learn. It's nice to have the group here to hear different.
Yes, interesting.
And in Brazil?
They have these in America as well, don't they? And in England and in Europe, trolleybus trams.
Yeah, tram is not used in the U.S. I don't have a concept of tram. A trolley we have sometimes, and some trolleys are taken off the track and are just a little bus, but they call it a trolley because it looks a little different. Here in Charlottesville, we have one trolley that runs a special shuttle tour, but in San Francisco and other places, there are some famous trolleys that are on tracks. But tram,
I think we would call them.
To me, a tram. I think Florida and Disney World and the air trams. So I've been on trams that go through the air, but I don't think of trams as a train or a bus or. So it's fun to hear the descriptions and availability. Yeah. So trolleys are crazy, or trams are crazy.
Yes.
A lot of different words.
Yeah.
In England, we don't say public transportation, we just say public transport.
Ah, another difference.
Actually, there are different words everywhere you go, not just across the Atlantic, but everywhere in America and everywhere in Britain. Everywhere you go, they have different words. If I go to Birmingham, they don't have a roundabout, but I have roundabouts on the roads, but they have islands. So there's different roads, different words everywhere in the world.
Interesting. Yeah, words are great. Fun. Marais, we cut you short. So what makes trams crazy, and what's available in Brazil?
In Brazil, in my hometown, we have the only bus for as a public transportation. But as I live in a small city, normally we don't use the public transportation. Sometimes when you need to go to another city near of my hometown, you can use the public transportation. But within the city, it's not normal. But in the big city, as for example São Paulo, we have a bus, we have a train, we have a subway, because São Paulo is the big city, the largest city in Brazil.
I understand it's challenging to travel from big city to big city by car in Brazil.
Yes, to travel by car within São Paulo, you need to be patient because the traffic is very crazy.
I've had students that have missed classes by hours because they've been stuck in traffic when they're trying to make their commute from Sao Paulo area. Yeah. Fun conversation, and glad to have some new faces here today. But our hour is gone, so I'm going to copy the chat, and it's your chance for last comments. Anybody jump in and say whatever.
I hope I meet you in Europe soon.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
I'm excited. I'll cross the border and say I've been to Spain. It won't be a long visit, but at least a quick chance, I hope. Yeah, Leon, thanks for joining us. Anybody else?
Yep.
Quick comment or goodbye?
Bye all. See you again.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
See you.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye. See you.